Is your financial checklist ready? Welcome in. Coming up on today's program, your ultimate financial checklist. Are you on track? You're watching What's Next with Money, a program with smart insights to guide your financial decisions. Well, let's get started. The ultimate financial checklist follows the heritage and utility of all great checklists. Pre-flight, pre-launch, pre-operations. Financial decisions can impact the entire family, and a financial checklist is really easy to create. We'll consider specific planned actions that you could add for certain members of your family. And these can be promoted and even prompted by a calendar, deadlines, time of the year, the ages of your kids and spouse, previous decisions and goals, outside circumstance like markets, taxes, or a disaster, or a change in conditions that affects an individual person in your household. The cool thing is you can let each family member articulate money concerns, goals, worries, emotions, learning, and understanding financial concepts right on the checklist. It's an excellent prompt. So listen for these throughout the year and just write them down on your checklist. And your checklist will really be built automatically. Now, creating one is very simple. And we'll start with a few basic questions. Where are you? And this would include things like your net worth, your budget or spending plan, what's going on with your credit score, are you managing your credit records and correcting those if they're incorrect, and maintaining an emergency fund. Next question, where's the money coming from? Your current income sources, maximizing and being fully aware of your employee benefits. And this is a good checklist item to do annually, not only for you, but your spouse, and then it may lead to having a discussion with the HR professional where you work. And the goal here not only is to maximize employee benefits, but in employment to make yourself indispensable at work. Now, what about potential new and enhanced income sources like side gigs, part-time or seasonal employee? And this applies to the kids as well. And that seasonal employment or part-time work might be in fields and areas you might want to start a business or explore career changes. So not only you get paid, you get to check out the next thing you might want to do. And we have a great companion video on small business we'll have a link to. Now, another question is, are we handling and reducing our credit and spending or managing that properly? Are we eliminating consumer debt? That could be a priority on the checklist. Borrowing only what we can easily afford to repay, and that is tied to our big goals, like mortgage, auto loan, student loan. Perhaps giving to charities we care about. And certainly tackling everyday monthly spending decisions and these ever-increasing subscriptions that are happening. So a good way to handle that is to do a 30-day spending diary, and categories will emerge that you can write down, and this will help form your budget. What about buying used, sharing items? And of course, the overall goal is to live well below our means so we can have extra cash flow, the emergency fund can be topped off, and money's made available to our real big-time goals. Here's another question. Are we protected? Do we have the proper insurance for our cars, our possessions, our home? Do we have replacement value coverage for our home, which helps fight against inflation, the cost to replace our home, and building codes, the cost of materials and labor? What about rental property we might own? Are we covered there? Or if we're renting, do we have renter's insurance? Then there are business assets, pets, and I'm sorry folks, I know I'm talking about possessions, but pets are more than a possession, but it's under this category. We might have another kind of outside activity like boats, ATVs, RVs, and for your homeowner's insurance, you can add special riders for certain perils like flood, earthquake, sewer backup. And then there's the insurance for people, health insurance. Health savings accounts might be tied to that. Life insurance, disability, long-term care. And then part of personal protection is umbrella liability. This is great coverage that rides on top of your homeowners and auto coverage. Then in our checklist, are we prepared? Do we have that emergency fund? Are we maintaining it? And are we using it if we really need to? Now, what about a disaster plan for risk in your area? We have great videos on this, on disaster preparation and recovery, and we'll also have a link to those. What about a family communications plan? As our kids grew up, we created a special code word that they could use if another trusted person needed to pick them up if the parents weren't available or something had happened. But that's part of good security for your family, and that can be on the checklist. What about mitigation? The idea to eliminate or lessen the impact of disasters, including costs. And by mitigation, you can save time, you add security to your household, safety, and it even enhances your net worth. And there's always the importance of a household or ownership video inventory. This needs to be stored off-site. You can film it with your phone, store it in the cloud as well. And this lets, if there is a disaster, you know what you have, where it was, and it's great documentation for the insurance companies. And there's another form of security, and that's anti-fraud, ID theft protection, even how you manage your passwords and best practices for that. That should be on the checklist because that's really an all hands on deck. All family members need to participate in that to avoid phishing and other challenges on the internet. And then, are we learning to be more tax savvy, kind of the tax area and compliant each year? Federal income tax, state income tax, if you have those, property and use tax, and the all-important planning for your tax refund. And here you have a lot of choice. You can save parts of it. You can use it to pay down debt. You can invest in something called I-bonds, which is like Treasury savings bonds at a very competitive interest rate with really no fees attached. And part of your refund can be used to celebrate. And we have a great video on managing taxes. We have a link for that. So don't forget to hit that subscribe and throw in a little smash on that like button. This helps move our content to more people. It's free and it's actually fun. So we're talking about your ultimate financial checklist. Here are a few more items. Are we investing for retirement? What are we doing? And this is a great annual question. Are we getting the maximum match with our 401k from our employer? If we're not in a retirement plan at work, have we created a Roth IRA or a contributory IRA? Do we have a pension opportunity at work? And how are we thinking about Social Security as we get older? Making sure those credits are up to date. We check our Social Security online annual reports. It's also important in retirement planning to keep our costs low, stay diversified, and for investing beyond retirement, but this can feed into retirement or other goals like small business and grabbing some rental real estate, for example, as an income source. Setting up a taxable brokerage account in a living trust format may be great because there you can take advantage of long-term capital gains rates on sale. And that helps quite a bit growing your net worth. Also for your checklist, where do you want to go in the next 2 to 5 years? Set some interim goals, and the checklist is very action-oriented, and you can see that each year you're doing something to move toward those. And it's just not you as perhaps head of household, but it's your spouse, your kids, even parents that you help take care of. What are some upcoming milestones or key ages for family members as they move on in life? For adults, it could be a job change, scheduling, getting a certification, the need for caregiving for aging parents or a disabled relative. For people older, as they approach retirement, it's deciding and researching when to claim Social Security. What are the key Medicare dates? And coordinating that with your spouse to maximize your benefits. And for the children, What about visiting college or a technical or a trade training program? Summer enrichment. These can be planned a year out. A lot of these fill up fast. Service opportunities. What about the military or national service? Part-time jobs, study abroad. Taking time on your financial checklist to explore many of these options, especially for young people's curiosity, to get familiar, to see what it's all about, is great planning. And what about new kids in your household through adoption or birth? The extra savings you might need, childcare planning, home improvement, saving for college training or higher education. Even foster care can be part of this. And you might need to add a few safety measures to your house. Then there are these big, in your checklist, the aspirational goals. These are where you can kind of doodle and say, what do we want to do in this area? Is the house we have too small? Or are we renting? Do we need to move to ownership? What about education goals? Transportation, car replacement, using public transportation at our next place where we live. And here, a great thing in planning that most people do more than financial planning is planning vacations, recreations, or hobbies. Now, another big one on the checklist to think about is possible relocation. And you and your spouse's jobs or other circumstances might compel relocation for better opportunities, lower taxes, and just a change in career, such as career switching. And then there's the idea of starting a business or owning rental property. Again, seeding those big long-term goals. What about, are we ready for estate planning? Do we have wills, living trusts in place to avoid probate, durable powers of attorney, medical powers of attorney, living wills, and something that's so easy to do for folks on insurance policies and in all of our retirement accounts, including pensions, updating beneficiaries. Are we staying current with that? That saves a lot of headache. Then there's something on everybody's mind, but they often don't write this down, and a checklist could be a great place to do this. I call it big fixes. These are items to repair, maybe something to learn about or fix. It could even be credit, spending, savings, your emergency fund, obviously investing in retirement planning, but it could be something at your house, some major improvement or fix or mitigation that needs to happen. And then ask yourself on the list, some of this is beyond our capability. Where can we find advisors to help us with legal, perhaps career counseling, especially if you're in a technical or specialized field, small business counseling, and then, of course, certified financial planners, accredited financial counselors, tax professionals, tax help, and estate planning, which might involve meeting with a lawyer. What learning sources are out there that could help you? Well, I've got a good suggestion. One of them is What's Next with Money. We have literally taped now over 50 programs, and our channel is growing. And each episode, we have a link that'll take you to this PDF, How to Take Control of Your Finances. And this creates many of the categorical items on the checklist in an action item form with links to government agencies and nonprofit organizations. So nothing's ever here to be sold, but it's to help you be informed and to be caught up and stay ahead, and integrating that into your checklist, so that this PDF is a great prompt for that. And of course, your library and librarians are another great help. If you go on a hike, you need a checklist. Check out this family financial checklist. So, are you ready for takeoff? Your ultimate financial checklist will not only keep you on track with your goals, it will make you a better money manager and prompt new action goals that all members of the family can benefit from and financially achieve. Be sure to hit that subscribe and like button, and don't forget to share. Remember, new episodes of What's Next with Money are posted on Thursdays. I'm Brent Neiser, looking to see you next time on What's Next with Money.